getting up on stage and putting yourself out there for people to actively judge you on your body and your appearance is certainly daunting, especially for someone who was severely overweight in the past. But doing the whole process is demonstrably different from just trying to lose weight and get in shape. It's getting up at 5:30 every morning to get up that little bit earlier before your 1.5-year-old and your 6-month-old get up, to get out there in the pissing cold and rain, getting your cardio done, then coming home to a savage ab routine while prepping your breakfast for your kids, then prepping all your 8 meals for the rest of the day while going to work, feeling like you're about to faint every minute of every day, just to get home to try and muster a little snippet of energy to try to get out there for more cardio, leaving just enough room in the bag to play with your kids before going out that night to train with the same strength and intensity I've always brought to the table. It was, well, absolutely fucking torture. It hurt relationships and it made me want to stop exercising altogether. Well, long time no speaky. I'm back with a rather lesbian looking haircut. It's a joke. It's exciting to get back and talk with y'all. It's been almost a year now since I made a video. About 11 months. There's no excuses for my disappearance.
Yes, officers, there's something wrong?
Have you seen this boy?
But it's a common excuse people make. I had many life-blocking and messy events over that year that left me, I'd say, mentally unstable. Not mentally unstable, unable. Mentally unstable would be batshit crazy. Mentally unable to produce content, and sometimes physically, actually, as well. But where have I been? Well, last year I ventured into my first ever bodybuilding competition. It was absolutely outside my comfort zone. It was people like my partner that encouraged me to do it, and a couple of my close friends. I don't tan. I don't wear women's underwear. I don't like the idea of being a poser. I don't like the idea of being on stage. Combining all those things was frightening because it sounds like I've just explained a drag show. It's a joke. It's just a joke. But as someone who's always tried to inspire people to push out of their comfort zones, to fight the dragons and get the gold at the end of the cave, rescue the princess and eat little mushrooms, different game, I thought, well, it's probably better that I practice what I preach. And I will say I was really glad to be pushed into unknown territory. Prepping for a show is hard. It's fucking hard. Especially if you treat it how it should be done. To be in serious condition, which in my opinion should be a non-negotiable for these shows. I mean, some shows will be that where individuals have came and it really looks like they haven't brought the condition that should be expected for these kind of things. I mean, this is actually a competition show. It's not just a photo shoot you do of your local gym. This is an actual show. I think there should be a certain agreed level of conditioning and body fat percentage. This is hard. I mean, to continue to deliver a consistent work ethic through your training while operating on a limited amount of calories and nutrition while juggling your daily responsibilities in life, not many people decide to do it for obvious reasons like this. What attracted me to bodybuilding in the first place was just how intense it can be if you decide to take it for its full, proper journey. And I'm not just talking about training 7 days in the gym and eating what you want. Anyone, in my opinion, can train 1 to 2 hours in the gym. Depends how intense you do it. And then go away and just eat what they want. But to take it home, especially for years and years of your life, to continue to be on your game 16 to 17 hours a day, training, then going away and prepping all your meals and eating clean, more or less still clean and off season, it's a different ball game. I mean, it's prepping day in, day out, every night, training even when you don't feel like it, prioritizing your recovery and rejecting the luxuries and the finer things in life. That's what attracted me to bodybuilding. It kind of reminded me of a monk life state. Not exactly monkish. Monkish would probably have more bragging rights than what would have in a bodybuilder, but there was an element of it. And especially living on a quick-paced modern society like the West, it's a way, certainly, it's a way to get as close to living like an ancestor as you could. Now I've lived this more or less, give or take some off seasons where I do have the cheap meals and treats here and there, but I've always stayed on my game for probably about 6 years or more now, I'd say. I remember continuing to eat the way I'm eating right now and training the way I did on the day our father passed. I remember doing that when he was in hospital, seriously ill. We didn't think he was going to pull through. I remember training throughout that. Actually, when I got the call when he needed the ambulance, I was in the gym. The day he passed, I was in the gym, and the day of the funeral, I was in the gym as well. Now, in some degrees, people would look at this may be selfish, but it was a tick box routine. You know, just like brushing my teeth. You know, sure, my mind wasn't exactly there, but you know, as a father, fathers always teach you sort of, I think, a good father anyway, to be strong, stoic, and masculine. And the gym has helped me achieve those things, to be more confident. So I felt in the way I was on it. But here is the massive but. Prepping for a competition is on another level entirely. It's not only you're physically exhausted every day and greatly overworked, but I'll just quickly list a few quirky side effects here that you may experience while prepping for a show. Alright. Faint-like feeling most every day. Every day. Blood rush and severe dizziness anytime you decide you want to stand up for no good reason. Headaches. Problems taking a shit. Sometimes. Most of the time. You get crabs. Or pads. Libido lower than an old hag's titties. Dick stop working. I mean, you want an honest, real, not lying, you know, recollection of this. My dick didn't work for about 13 weeks. And I didn't really care anyway because your mindset's not even there. You know, if someone decided to try to entice you, all you're seeing is literally like moving food. You know, I was on a lot of like Rice Krispies and stuff at the time during my meal preps, and that's just what it was like for me. Like looking at my partner, as beautiful as she is, a lot of the times when she, you know, moved from room to room, I just seen a moving box of Rice Krispies sometimes. And when I say stop working, I'm not talking about even a flicker of light, or should I say a flicker of might, but full stop not working. The entire prep. What else? Sensitivity to being cold. Like on hot days, I was out with people wearing t-shirts, shorts and vests, and I'm wearing layers of a jacket. It was like an old woman. Problems with my temper, snapping and angry. Very sorry, people. Numbness and pins and needles a lot of the times, most days, in my feet and my fingers. In fact, the majority of the time I was convinced I was actually for a potential stroke. Not being able to feel my fingers, well, this was just insane actually. Worse than you think. During prep I did a four amount of a lot of gigs. I'm in a band, we tour, and I had gigs down Ireland, I had gigs in England. And the worst bit, I played guitar in a joint lead, and losing the ability to not even play solos but basic chords. And what happened for every show was I thought on certain strings, I was playing certain strings, turned out I wasn't, because I couldn't feel I couldn't feel my fingertips. It turns out I was actually on a different string. But because in prep, your senses are not functioning the same way. I couldn't hear. So to me it was like, that's fine, but to the people out front, it's completely fucking out of key. And then until I caught on halfway through, I had to adjust the thing, but I still couldn't feel my fingers. So that was actually a massive effect. And there was even weird feelings of, I don't like to say anxiety because, you know, the words get overused, depression and anxiety, but there was almost feelings of anxiety, or just maybe it was a shift just not wanting to. Or every show I did with those crowds and fans and stuff, I would hide in my car about 2 minutes before going on stage. Go on stage, run off, and go back in the car even while the band's out there for hours mingling. And I did that for, you know, all the way through prep. Again, it actually at one point made me wanted to quit doing music in the band. Just like after prep, it made me want to quit actually exercise. Now, I'm going to tell you why a prep shouldn't be really this bad, right? And I had an amazing coach. You know what I mean? I actually, looking back now, really enjoyed prep for all this. It's just I got a lot of side effects because maybe it was my first time, but also I didn't give myself a lot of time for this, which is my fault, and I'll go into it. But yeah, it was even hard to keep social appearances up with people without coming across rude. You know, they would be talking, and 10 seconds in, you would get so exhausted that even like try to like smile and, you know, be polite. You're like, yeah, it was really cool, yeah. And then you find yourself going, oh, that's really cool, yeah. Now, I'm a really chirpy budgie. So when people talk to me, I like, oh, yeah, oh, that's fucking cool. Oh, yeah, you're looking really well, yeah. In prep, you don't get that. In prep, it's like, fucking boring. Now, all of that may sound enticing to say the least. And you finally get to the day of the show, you go home thinking, it's over, I can finally eat. Run! The body fucks you over. My stomach and ass had other ideas. And schemes that your brain does. The brain had a different scheme. My body rejected food for about a week after it. It just passed through me. Then about 5 days after the show, I noticed my ankle started to swell. You know, you have a small layer of fat at the bottom of your feet. Not many people know this. Well, mine blew up like a balloon. When I say my ankles and my arms and my stomach looked like the Michelin Man, it looked like the Michelin Man. It was pure water. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it, and my face swelled up. It got to the point where I was limping, couldn't walk properly. It was sore to even go down the stairs. I had to get my partner to like turn up, you know, if we were upstairs, you know, at the night, you know, go out and turn the lights off because I couldn't make it down the stairs. And then when I did walk down the stairs, because there's so much water in my stomach, it was jiggling to the point where it created like a, you know, an overhanging to my groin. And when I walked down, it would bind off my groin, and it was fucking aching. I wasn't told anything about this, but it was pools of water. I mean, I could pinch, and it wasn't just I know a fast ripple. It was a boom, boom, boom. You know, it was like I was creating a tsunami in my belly. It was pretty rough. Now, I went to the doctors after this because I then started having a problem breathing. I was lying down at night, and because there's so much fluid in my lungs, I couldn't breathe, heart palpitations, and walking was so fucking hard. Now, I went to the doctors. Now, this was a natural bodybuilding contest. She knew what I did. She constantly went on the explanation of, oh, it must be steroids. Are you sure you're not taking steroids? I said, not taking steroids. She put me on a scale. Now, look at this. I was 59.5 kilos on the day of the show, right? So 7 days later, the doctor weighs me, and I'm 76 kilos, 16 kilos in 7 days. Now, she didn't say there was a problem to this, but she did say, oh, that looks normal, you know, to gain a bit of water weight. Like 16 kilos in 7 days? No, it's not. Now, she took my top off, and she looked at me and went, yeah, I mean, does it look normal? I mean, should it look like that? Quite demonising for a man. Try to explain to her, I honestly look like someone that never trained in their life, and I try to say, well, you know, I was on stage here, I was in the best shape of my life, and suddenly now I look like dog shit. And it's hard mentally because, you know, you're used to a certain shape, and then you're going from, I mean, it was too quick for the mind to adjust to that. She didn't give me much. I ended up having to go for an ECG to get fit in my heart, make sure, but they didn't find anything else. So it's most likely just, I put my body through so much strain that my body was like, well, you know what, fuck you. It's 13 weeks of this? Well, we'll see how you like it now, because I'm gonna put so much water on you that it's gonna be like an episode of my 600-pound life. Some of you may wonder why this all happened. I mean, others go through prep and don't get anything like sort of this. Well, I'm a natural bodybuilder. I don't have the advantage of being enhanced, where you can kind of curb up some side effects and you have much more motivation and energy from certain things. I'm not saying that an enhanced bodybuilder has it easy during prep. They still have it fucking tough, really tough. But I do think there's a slight difference in my experience anyway. Well, I haven't took steroids. That's technically not for me to say. The main reason was probably because it is in a 13-week prep window. Usually for prep you take 20 to 24 weeks. I did it in a very short period of time. I was told initially by the coach that I was 8 weeks behind, and he said you need to pull this back. I pulled it back within about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, which was fast paced, and I broke myself. And then he said, that's brilliant, you've done really well. And I just tapered back a wee bit. But at that point the steam was already going. It's very hard mentally when you're doing so much volume every day to suddenly stop it. It's the mind's like, oh, you're not gonna be as good. You know, you taper it back. Now, looking back now, that was great advice. But I decided to go for my shitty advice and keep going. And I even added more and more in as it went on. I think this is why it went. The output I continued to deliver was probably the highly dangerous for my body. But I did come in with the best condition of the show on the day. I was told by the judges and the coach. And I was proud of that. That was my only goal. I didn't expect to place anywhere, but my goal was to come in more condition. Now, some of the guys that competed there, I was on stage with, that was maybe like their 15th show, you know, session people. And I said, if I can out-condition them, I know I've done well, and I did. And this is while also managing 2 small children. Like I said, I had a 2-year-old at the time. No, he wasn't even 2, and I had a 6-month-old. The other guys didn't really have that. But one of my friends had a small child still. And that makes a difference, because your sleep and recovery is not the same way. I wasn't getting 8-9 hours, because that would have maybe kept my testosterone at good levels and the recovery, and I would have been able to have more energy and probably better results. I didn't have that luxury, because kids were getting up during the night and I had to get up early to get the cardio in before they got up. No excuse, I couldn't leave my missus dealing with it all while, you know. So yeah, and then it's cardio twice a day, and then it's weight training. You know, so the output was just huge. But all of this, as hard as it was and confusing during the time, it would have been a hell of a lot worse without my coach. James Melville is very thankful to be accepted and work with James. James is probably right now, for me, one of the top natural bodybuilders in the world. I'm going to say in the world. Northern Ireland has him. You know, 2 pro cards against enhanced people naturally. Legs like Triceratops. An amazing conditioning is next to none. The posing is next to none. And I'll put some photos up, you can see. But that was my coach. Having him in your ballpark was amazing, and attention to detail was fucking down to the T. You know, he's you know, he has, you know, it's not just a nutritionist going, oh, I want you to check the rest. You know, every little small, even intricate detail and background of nutrition was kicked down, and the work he put in even the week leading up to peak was just next to none. And having a coach there with you as well on the day, coming to the show, that's, you know, most coaches would just leave you. Having a coach there is, so thank you so much, man. That's why I would now encourage people to get a coach for no matter what you're doing. Even for someone myself that's coached people in the past, still get a coach, because they do the groundwork for you. And when you're not thinking straight as well, you know, having someone there to back you up and reassure you and guide you correctly. And you may think you're knowledgeable, but you know, there's always someone that's maybe gained more expertise and experience for yourself, and find a coach that matches perfectly to what you're wanting to do. If it is a show, find a coach who's went through it before. And if you're natural, find a natural coach. Anyway, and that was a lot of bollocks about me. I don't want to talk about shit about me, it's fucking boring. No one cares about personality. I wanted to give you some sort of information and advice to make this somewhat useful to the listener. But you're probably wondering how I did in the competition. So I'll finish this. Well, I managed to actually scoop up, pathetic drum roll, 2nd place. No, not in my first show in Northern Ireland in the men's open. I have the luck and privilege to achieve that from the first show. I was very pleased with it. The wonderful human being who took 1st place, I'm glad to say a tremendous friend of mine and a great drug-free bodybuilder coach and sports massage, is Sam Dando. A very knowledgeable, all-rounded. We're actually going to have him in the show here shortly, but I won't give too much away. But wonderful guy. He deserved 1st place. The routine he did, mine was rough. You have to do a routine at the end to show off your naked body. His was like something out of Swan, you know, ballet dance. And mine, it looked like someone was taking brackets on stage. I'll hold that down for the second here. Okay, so important stuff. My advice: maybe bodybuilding, a competition, powerlifting meet, prep for a photo shoot in your local gym. Of course, the advice: get a coach, but give it all you've got for that time period. Give it all you've got. I promise you, you won't look back 6 years or 6 months after that and look back at it and go, do you know what, see, during that process, I wish I had more cake. I wish I had more chocolate back then. You'll look back and see what you've actually achieved, hopefully in the best physical shape you've ever attained. Proud in the fact that you're looking at the physical representation of the workload and effort you put in. That'll be a time capsule for you that you won't be able to take what you have forever. You won't look back and go, do you know, on July 13th, 2020, do you know, that date, it's just, it hurts me because I didn't have that pizza. Certainly, you may not be able to, you may not even be anywhere near the level of competing in a show, or not, you don't even want to get to that point, and that's fucking okay. I mean, it's important to be critical of yourself, I think. Look at your weaknesses and know the work that's required. Better that than someone who jumps into those things overconfident, thinks they're ready, you know, sexy quiff hair back, metrosexual, tans every day, thinks he's God's gift to mankind. But you're wrong. I think we're a society now that takes pride over just about anything. Proud of your weight, proud of your natural attributes you're merely born with. You take pride in the things you earn and achieve. Not the things you're born with, not your immutable characteristics. You take pride in the things you've achieved and the things you've built. That's why I don't necessarily agree with, pride in just the way your weight is. That's succumbing to basic temptations and gluttony. Come on, I mean, if you're given any sort of opportunity, it doesn't matter what your age, why put 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% in it? Put the whole fucking thing in it. Put as many resources that you have at your disposal and put it into it. There's going to be people out there that has more responsibilities than you, or maybe less. You may be someone with more responsibilities. You may maybe have kids. You may be a carer. You may be juggling 2 jobs. And there's people that's going to be having it slightly easier for you than compared to you if you're competing essentially. But in this game, it's not an endurance game. It's not exactly about the X amount of time. There's only a certain X amount of time realistically you need to put into that day to achieve what you need to do that day. The main thing that counts, it's the intensity and work ethic. It's that you bring to the table no matter what. Everyone is on an equal playing field there. Everyone. Like I said, all my competitors that came against me wasn't exactly in the same situation as me. I said I had this 2 small kids. And during this time as well, I have a mother with Alzheimer's who we were moving into a assisted care home. We had to get the house sorted and all, with soliciors and all. It was a messy time. But I can say that every fucking morning I got up at 5 a.m. still. Every morning. To go out in the pissing rain with the bags of weights in my bag to do cardio when I was completely brain dead. I wanted it. I was not prepared to get on stage beside other people looking half-cocked. Or half-cooked, do you know what I'm saying? If I was doing it, I'm doing it. Like, I have some really big things planned and coming up. More and more content, more and more information that I can pass to you that I can. I've always... I wanted to start like a podcast. I know everyone does a podcast now. Your mum has a podcast? Your auntie even has a podcast. But more of a straight podcast that can be downloaded audio, talking about everything from fitness, bodybuilding, dating, the current culture, masculinity, adopting and finding a meaning in life, and all together improving as people. I know that's very cliche of me, and who am I to lecture and talk about it? But the Orcs Den, what I set up isn't just quick fuck information. I wanted to take a stab at the current culture, because I fucking hate the current culture. I think it's poison. I think it's toxic to people, especially in the fitness world. So if I can make someone out there who watches this think 10% slightly differently about something, which I generally believe will be a positive to their life, fucking amen. I'll be fucking happy. And I think it's worthwhile doing it. And it's worthwhile as well, just for the fact to pass this information that someone might go, never thought of it like that. And they twinkle on with that information, it snowballs and snowballs, and it creates a Hercules of a man or a woman. Hercules of a man. A big strapping young man or woman. Strapping. But I can't wait to share it with you all. But for now, thanks for your time.